The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
And welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik. Thank you for joining us once again. As always, I like to start and remind you to go to Stewart.com/radio. That's Stewart.com/radio, where you can access all the shows that we've had, all 399. And of course, this one today, show number 400. You can see and hear the show, all the shows, all of the past shows, and then also access our show roster where you can see who's been on the show, an idea of the show topic. So, show number 400. As I said, this is an extra special show. All shows are special, but show number 400 is a real milestone for us. So we're going to celebrate that today, even talk about what that may mean for you as a real estate professional or other listener out there. So we're excited about that. In fact, we have Tom Carpentier, the president of Stewart Insurance, Larry Warren, president of Stewart Title, the Houston division. So great guests there. And, of course, John Bramblett will be here with Stewart Insurance as well. But we're going to start the show kind of as normal and then talk a little bit about the show number 400 that we're doing right now today. So thank you all for joining us. If you're out there driving from your second home, from the beach, from the lake, wherever, you may want to fine-tune that seat and enjoy the show in an extra special way today. And it is now time to get down to business as Real Estate Matters begins right now as we welcome Alex Massa. He is the CEO of Appraisal MC. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Bill.
Well, thank you for being here on a little extra special show, number 400.
I feel very special, yeah.
Well, you're in the appraisal business. So first of all, let's tell people about your company, Appraisal MC.
Yes, Appraisal MC is an appraisal management company that covers 33 states. And what appraisal management companies do is we handle the procurement of appraisal services, residential and commercial. So it's basically just the ordering and compliance of appraisals in order to remain compliant and have a safeguard firewall between loan officers, banks, and the appraisers.
A little bit busy today, I'm going to guess.
Quite a bit busy, especially in Texas. Like I said, we are in 33 states. We're based out of Texas. What's great about us and unique about us is we also have staff appraisers in Texas that cover Austin, San Antonio, and Houston outside of our network of appraisers. So we've got a special finger on the pulse on what's going on across the nation, but really excited to be based out of this great state. Let me rewind a little bit, Bill. Let's talk first about the appraiser's life prior to COVID. On the residential side, an appraiser that works full-time could probably complete maybe 2 or 3 full appraisals a day. So pre-COVID, very balanced market. An appraiser would get 2 or 3 orders, they would accept them, go work them up, that's it. They were done for the day. COVID hits. I'm pulling out recession plans, thinking what is going to happen? How are they going to sell homes? How are realtors going to show homes? Well, they figured it out. Rates drop, there's a refi boom, and people decide, I'm going to move. I don't care where I'm living, I'm moving. A lot of people decided to move to Texas, which was really good. So the volume increased so much that if you ask an appraiser in Texas how many orders they were getting at the peak of COVID, they were getting maybe 20 or 30 orders a day, and from then could only select 2 or 3. Slow down a little bit, but they are still extremely busy. If you ask a residential appraiser today in Texas, how many orders do you get? They're still getting between 7 to 15 orders, and from there they can accept 2 or 3. So it's very busy.
As far as the changes that are occurring, what are some of the other things? Are the appraisers doing anything different when they do an appraisal right now? Besides
rushing, trying to get it out quickly, they had some flexibilities during COVID, which allowed the appraisers to perform appraisals on a desktop version of the appraisal report, and some also on the exterior form. Now, they've eliminated most of those, but for the most part, it's back to business as usual. I think Fannie, Freddie, FHA, they're all trying to figure out a different way to speed up the process. I think we're just dealing with a very, very interesting blip in the market right now.
As far as comparing the Texas markets, let's say you mentioned you're in Houston, Austin. Give us an idea, especially what's going on. Austin seems to be extra crazy. We're hearing what's going on from that standpoint in Austin.
Yeah, let's talk about Texas. Austin, you're talking about Austin, California, right?
Wow. Is that what they're going to do? They may be calling it that,
That's
right?
what they're calling it now. Prices in Austin are skyrocketing. I've seen prices since December go up 80 to 100% in some markets. The demand is just immense. What's really crazy is I read an article the other day that Harris County is actually getting more transplants from California than Austin, Texas is. I think just Austin is a much smaller market, much more condensed, and their build time is longer. Their inventory is lower. So it is absolutely a mad dash to get real estate in Austin right now.
And not only that, as I'm thinking about Houston, we are spreading out. I would think we have more land, and we are spreading out in each and every direction to where we're going to be soon connected to Austin, San Antonio, maybe Dallas too.
We're right there. We are right there. I mean, Sealy is now the Katy from when you and I grew up. So it's expanding and continues to expand. What's great about Houston, though, is we got an incredible network of roads to get us around really quick, and the 99 Grand Parkway really opened up a ton of more real estate for us to continue expanding and growing.
Give us an idea as far as the appraisers, when they do an appraisal. Let's take a residential appraisal. What are some of the things that they do or on their checklist that we may not think about as the homeowner or the person wanting to buy a particular home?
It's a great question. Appraisers often get confused with home inspectors. What we do is not a home inspection. It's basically a visual cosmetic inspection of the property, but not so deep into where we're checking electrical, plumbing, and structural. What we're looking for is verifying square footage, seeing what kind of upgrades and updates the house has, what kind of positive or negative influences the property may have around it. Does it back a commercial building that houses different types of restaurants, or does it back a golf course with the view? So what the appraisers do when they're out at an inspection, they're just gathering information in order to go back and analyze and compare it to the most similar data available.
In fact, as you think about the home inspector, it sounds like the appraiser is not only looking at the house or the home they're appraising, but they're looking far and wide as to what's around in a very detailed way.
Absolutely. You know, when the appraiser does their analysis, what they're looking for is what have your neighbors sold for? And if your house has a pool, what is your neighbor's pool valued at? What did buyers pay for that property? One interesting thing that we as real estate professionals are battling right now is the difference between cost and value. And everyone that watches HGTV thinks because you put $100,000 in your house, it's now worth $200,000 more. That's really for up to the market to dictate. And that's what's really important to understand these days is what we do as real estate professionals, we measure what buyers are willing to pay, not what it costs.
And that's a big thing right now.
Absolutely,
is what's
yes.
willing to pay multiple offers like we've never had before.
That's very true.
We're talking with Alex Massa. He is the CEO of Appraisal MC. Alex, give us an idea. There are other appraisal companies out there. Give us some of the ideas of how the points of distinction that your company provides, both the residential and commercial markets.
Yeah, that's great. First and foremost, we've been able to really gain a great market share because of our presence in Texas. We've been here since 2009. We've got a great network of appraisers across Texas. We've got about 850 contracted appraisers within the state. And what became very difficult for many companies coming from out of state or people who manage their appraisal process from different states is they didn't have the relationships. And in order for you to really get appraisals assigned in this market, you needed to have established that relationship before COVID hit. And that's really one of the key factors that we have. I think Texas could be its own country if we wanted to succeed. It honestly has that much volume. Secondly, we're different in that we also have, especially on the residential side, staff appraisers in most of the major markets, Houston, Austin, San Antonio. We've got 25 staff appraisers. So if we need to call in a special favor, we're able to call our staff appraisers to do that can you complete it quickly for us? This is a client that really needs it.
As far as the appraiser, how does someone become an appraiser? And when we think of the appraiser out there, what is their experience level? And are there certain industries they come from?
Yeah, Bill, that's a great question. The appraisal license is the most difficult license to get in any real estate business. It requires a mentorship, which is called a trainee period. And you've got to train under a certified appraiser for a certain amount of time. It's 6 months to become licensed, 12 months to become certified. If you want to get general certified, which is the commercial license, you have to have a 4-year college degree. If you want to become certified appraiser, you have to have a 2-year associate's degree. So it's extremely difficult. The state audits your work files. You've got to pass a very difficult 6-hour test. The barriers to entry are huge. Just real quick, I want to touch on something. When I first started in this business in 1999, there were 120,000 appraisers across the U.S. Today, there's about 80 or 90,000. So it's a dwindling profession, and I think it's due to the barriers to entry are so difficult.
And when the appraiser goes to a home or a commercial property, how much work do they do prior to, or does the does the process begin when they get to the property?
Every appraiser treats that differently. Some appraisers like to research not just the subject property, but also the comparable data before they go out. I think that's wise because a lot of times, especially on FHA assignments, you're required to take pictures of the comps. There's no need in wasting time and going back and forth to a neighborhood. So I think a lot of the research goes into the front end, but then you start refining it towards the back end. After you've inspected the property, you start pulling the sales that are really the most relevant to the report, and then you start working on your report.
As far as the challenges in terms of value right now, I would think that they're greater for the appraiser and or when they're dealing with a real estate professional as far as, well, it should be worth more, it should be worth less. What's that like for the appraiser and your company?
Yeah, the question of value becomes very difficult. As real estate professionals, we've all taken a real estate class and know the definition of market value as a willing buyer and a willing seller. Well, it's not the case if you're getting financing and you're getting an appraisal done. When you're getting an appraisal done, you've got to abide by rules and guidelines that were set by Fannie, Freddie, FHA, basically all the GSEs. And you really need to support your data for them with historic sales. And when we're in such a fast-moving market and you've got an agent that's got 20 offers all above list price and you're not even able to hit the list price, everyone's wondering, appraiser, do you not know what you're doing? Appraisers have a set of guidelines that they have to follow. And I would say that they're conservative because you're looking at historic data and not always applying what's happening in the market in the future.
And many times we think of the appraisal as part of the mortgage or when someone's financing a property of any sort. What about the role of the appraisal in a cash transaction? Let's take a residential purchase of a home.
Yeah. So funny enough, we've got a couple of cash transaction appraisal orders today. The way we approach it is the same way. We're still going to look at market value in the same way. We're going to use the same typical guidelines and try and prove it with historical data. It's not very often that someone that's a cash buyer will order an appraisal because they're willing to pay for it no matter what. What is happening now, and this is what I tell a lot of buyers, even though your home didn't appraise, doesn't mean it's not worth it. It's just mean we weren't able to prove it on paper. The market's moving so fast. You could have a sale that closes next week that increases the value above and beyond what you paid for that property. So it's understanding what's going on in the market, being willing to be a little bit flexible outside of the mortgage square that we have to sometimes live in and the appraisal square that we have to live in, and not be afraid to pay above and beyond what appraiser may value the property at in this market.
And I'm wondering, going back to the cash buyer, perhaps, and correct me if I'm wrong, if there's a cash buyer coming from another state or far away, to me, that might, even if I'm paying cash, that might be a reason to have your company come out, appraise the home just to give me a better feel.
Bill, I would suggest it 100%, right?
There you go.
But what I tell people in Austin, your home's worth whatever a Californian's willing to pay. And,
that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. So, It's funny that you say that, because what's happening is, even with what we feel are inflated prices in Texas, people from outside of Texas still think we're incredibly affordable. Even that 1,300 square foot bungalow by Zilker Park in Austin that is listed at 1.4 is a deal for someone coming from Santa Monica or Laguna Beach.
Exactly. They have a big smile on their face
That is
sometimes
right.
when they're putting down $50,000 or so more. In fact, I remember an article not that long ago in the Wall Street Journal where Austin, they were, I don't know if it was one home or several, that it was $100,000 over the list price.
Oh, I've seen more than that. I've seen up to $250,000. $250,000 above list price, above appraised value, and they'll pay the difference.
Well, let me ask you this. With your unique perspective of the marketplace, no one knows. But if you were to speculate, how long is this going to last? Will there ever be another normal like we used to have? What do you think is going to happen?
This is a horrible question to ask an appraiser, because we're experts at predicting the past, right? The future, what I will say, because we're in so many markets, what I will say is Texas is unique, and the people that are moving here are here to plant roots, and this is real demand as opposed to the 2008 market that was speculative. I think that Texas, being the tax haven that it is, as inexpensive as it is, as pro-business as it is, will continue to grow over the next 3 to 5 years.
Well, going back to California, and another Wall Street Journal article in last week's edition, Gene Simmons, who is selling, he's talking about selling 4 of his West Coast properties, all over $10 million. Well, one of them may have been $8 million, but regarding his California properties, he says, hey, I make a lot of money, but still the rubber band, you could push it so long until it breaks, it's too much here.
Yeah.
Having said that, what's your feel for people going to California? Because there still are people going to the West Coast.
I've never looked at it that way.
Well, maybe there is.
Bill, I just see people moving here. I don't see it going that way. I would say that the price increases in those markets hasn't been as vast percentage-wise as they have been in Texas. At the end of the day, it just becomes a supply and demand issue. It's an economic issue. Are there jobs there that can sustain that type of investment? I would think that a lot of the real estate, especially in the 8 to 20 million, is multiple homes, people parking money, or more speculative. So you're right. I don't know how much further we can go before that rubber band pops out there.
Give us a quick word as far as the East Coast. What's your dealings in the East Coast and what's happening out there?
The second best market that we're seeing right now regarding new construction purchases is Florida. And again, I go back to tax havens, people that want lower taxes or no state taxes. I see people migrating, and those that can work remotely are choosing Florida. And those that are on the West Coast are choosing Texas. So if you're East Coast and wanting to get away from A, cold, and B, persecution of your taxes, you're moving to Florida. And it is happening. I think they're seeing the same migration there, just from a different demographic side of the U.S. as opposed to Texas.
And Alex, before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know?
I'd love people to know that we are probably in the busiest market that we've ever seen as far as it goes with appraisers, especially in Texas. Be patient, be thoughtful, be prepared, and act quickly. Don't wait to order appraisals when historically people would wait until after the option period, because there's so much volume. Appraisals are taking a long time, and that's kind of what's holding transactions back is, hey, we're waiting on this appraisal in this rural area that's taken 60 days. So just be prepared, set those expectations with buyers and sellers, and you can get through this transaction even when it's this busy.
And right quick, before we tell people how they can reach out to you, what is it about this world? You could be in all sorts of different things, professions in your life. What is it about the appraisal world that you love?
I got into this business by chance, but I always loved architecture. When I was a young boy, I wanted to be an architect. I wanted to build homes and develop. And this was one way where I can get into real estate and see a ton of different types of architectures and different types of price point properties. What I really fell in love with was how analytical you had to be in order to be an appraiser and understand markets. It's almost a blue collar or white collar job. Half the time in the field, half the time being mathematical nerd, and you really have to be a particular type of person in order to really enjoy it. I just happen to be one of them.
And let's tell people how they can reach your company.
Yes, please. If you log on appraisalmc.com, and you can reach me directly at alex@appraisalmc.com.
appraisalmc.com.
That is correct.
Alex Massa. Alex, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Bill.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
And let's welcome our Senior Division President of Stewart Title right here in the Houston area. His name is Larry Warren. Larry, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bill. Glad to be here today.
Well, here we are. It's monumental. 400 shows. First of all, I want to thank you right here on the air for your support, for all the time that you've been helping us and supporting this show. So let's tell people, president of the Houston division, it's a mighty big division. It's a mighty division. Let's tell people your role and what you're doing here for Stewart Title.
Well, I'm a beginner at Stewart. I started in '82, so I'm still learning. No, I've been very blessed in my career. I work for 438 of the best people in the great state of Texas, as our previous guest Alex said. Glad we're in Texas. So I handle all of the southeast Houston area all the way out to Galveston, all the way around San Antonio, out to El Paso, all the way down to Brownsville, up the coast through Corpus, Rockport, Victoria. 6 divisions in what we call South and West Texas, and then the Houston division, which is 36 individual units alone and over 25 locations. And then also we're in business with Howard Hughes in Montgomery County, Stewart Title of Montgomery County as well.
The great thing is that you have a feel for what's going on in pretty much almost all of Texas, and that helps you help all the different offices that you're traveling on a regular basis too.
Absolutely. Just a couple of years ago, Fred Eppinger took over as CEO, and he's made a huge difference in the Stewart brand. You can just see it in our stock price. You can see it in what he's done for our employees, which I've always been the upside down triangle theory, that I work for them. So in the Houston area, I'm very, very blessed. I have Jennifer Shemitis. She's done it all, seen it all. She runs west and southwest area of the Houston market. I've got David Norris. David has seen it all, done it all as well. Runs south, southeast, and over in the Jefferson County area. I run the Northwest, and then Gary Griffith, who runs Stewart Title Montgomery County, and then our Northeast division. He's been in the business just like myself for 40-something years up in that market. And then I also have another senior leader in Monroe Ashworth, and he runs our 5 AFBAs and a separate closing unit there at the Legacy office, as well as he runs our Fort Bend commercial division. So underneath that great senior leadership team, I've been very, very blessed. They know what they're doing. You stay out of their way. You help when you're needed. All of our BDOs and branch managers fall up underneath that group. We have, in my opinion, the best sales team, bar none. We've had a lot of changes since 2016 because of what we've gone through here at Stewart. But we have a very, very good group, great group, I should say, of BDOs. And they're geographically located. Not every office has one. Some of the smallers don't. However, it's a very, very experienced team that has come on board with us here. You're part of that group yourself.
I'm honored to do so, to be so. And I remember, Larry, one of the shows we were on, or at one of our events that we had at one of our offices, I remember I made the error and I said, Larry, our BDOs are the A team, and then you said they're the A+ team.
That was Gosh, that was like 2 years ago.
Well, yeah, that's right. And
yeah,
ever since,
quite a while.
Ever since then, when I refer to the BDOs, I say they're the A+. Sometimes I even say A++. Just saying.
No, they really are. I mean, we do have some of the most dedicated, loyal. They bring value to their job. They are not only just, marketing, they truly, truly understand the meaning of sales. And they drive, they're a very good business consultant to our consumers that we deal with, our customers, from realtors to lawyers to builders to commercial to lending institutions. So we do have the best.
We really do. And not only that, they are expert at using the many tools going back to our Stewart heritage over 127 years, what that brings to the marketplace, not just BDOs, but the escrow officers as well. But they use resources in a magnificent way to help the real estate professional. And that is very important. And they do things others don't do in the industry.
Yeah, we've gone through quite a few changes with, I like to call it our toys, and arming their tool belts to assist their realtors. And with Fred coming on board, we've seen a lot of focus in that area with Stewart now and some of the things that we are now starting to provide.
Well, give us an idea. As you travel around to the various offices, what's going on in some of the other offices as you go, Corpus Christi and some of the other places? Just give us a feel so we get an idea.
I could bore you for an hour and a half and quote numbers because I'm a numbers guy. Alex said it best just a little while ago. We are having record years everywhere in the division that I work for. El Paso they didn't start off strong during COVID, but boy, that El Paso market right now, it's unbelievable what they've done just in the last 6 months. You go down to the Cameron County market, which is the tip of Texas, and Belinda's group, what they've done there, they eclipsed their record year within the first 5 months of this year. You go back up the coast to Laredo, that division, they're going to double their best year ever at this rate. And we have seen a slowdown in our refinances. However, we don't have a lender services division like some of the other directs that operate out of our offices. So we keep our refinance. It peaked out at about 28% as a division. We typically average 10 to 15. We've seen that drop a little bit. We've seen just over the last couple of months, maybe a 4, maybe 5%, depending on what unit you're in throughout the complete area, and as well as Houston, a drop in sales, just a very small little hiccup, but that was to be expected this time of year. So, when you look at those numbers and what this group has done and what we have gone through, 2020 changed the way we did business. I almost felt like a dealer during that whole year. We were at our desk every day, and what this group has done in 20, when what are we going to do? We're going to have to lay off everybody. How are we going to get through this? How are we going to pay the rent? Within 2 months, that turned quickly. We had to reestablish ourselves how we were going to handle the pandemic. We locked our doors. We tried to get rubber gloves, face masks, cleaners, everything to wipe.
Sure.
I learned how to put. learned how to put up plexiglass shields. I could build them with the best of them. As we delivered that throughout our entire area. So what they went through in 20 for that sustained period of time, Alex was mentioning 7 to 15 and they get to pick 2. Well, unfortunately for us, if you're averaging, 40 closings a month as a closer, 30 closings a month, and you're getting 80 orders and you have a 70% close rate, you're getting 50 to 60. We have one closer that has averaged since March over 130 closings per month. We can't pick 2 or 3. We've got to close them. What they have gone through this year and at the levels without slowing down, seasonal adjustments where they can relax. I'm so enamored with what they have achieved just this year alone. You see it. You hear the other BDOs talking, just trying to maintain their levels of service, what we've gone through. It's incredible. It really is.
Give us a word. We've talked about the BDOs, what they're doing, how they use the tools in a tremendous way, but also many people don't think about people closing on homes. They go to the closing, whether it's residential or commercial, but sometimes they don't think about the role of the escrow officers. And our escrow people are tremendous, and I don't just say that, but also longevity. We have people that have been with us for decades, and some of the new people that have been just come on board are also have decades of experience, but they're super sharp. You see the escrow officers. You know them very well all over the territory that you serve. Give us a word on that, because I know a lot of times the escrow officers love to listen to this show, by the way.
When I hit the escrow floor, everybody has a style how they close. So hopefully you get a mentor that trains you, and you take a little piece from everybody. However, there are 3 branch managers that I work for now that actually taught me. So my career is owed to some of these ladies that taught me. We are trying to bring in, younger millennials and start breeding internally. But yes, our experience level throughout the Stewart offices is phenomenal. I sit down with them now, and everything that we've gone through, all the HUD changes, and then all of a sudden you hear, what? The HUD's going away, and now we have this CD. I could not do what they do on a daily basis today. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. They are incredible. They're superhuman, what they're going through right now. All of the changes that we've seen, with all of the restrictions, with all of the, what is the new normal? We don't know. What is going to be the normal? We don't know. But given, what they've gone through over the last 18 months, it's just incredible that they've been able to maintain great service levels. We've got top-notch scores in customer service throughout our whole region. That goes from El Paso to Beaumont. So what they've achieved is just is beyond brilliant, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Super adaptive, adapting to COVID, adapting to the changes that would happen anyway just in the process of a real estate transaction. It is incredible. Okay, Larry, show number 400. Here we are. Now, for a while, I think you may have got off the track, but I know you were following every show. You checked out the YouTube video and the audio of each show for a while. Give us an idea from your perspective, and also as you've traveled around to the various offices here in Houston and beyond, give us a word as far as the show impact from your perspective, and what do you see for the future, some of the things that maybe we should think about doing to make it even more robust?
I do go down my YouTube Saturday morning rabbit hole. I do apologize. I'm a little bit behind.
It's okay.
When I came on board with Stewart Houston, we were just fixing to have your 200th show. So it's amazing. We need to get a party like we did for 200 now, Tom.
There we go.
So, because we can now. And celebrate the success of the show. I think it's a great avenue. We have a great partnership. It allows our customers to get on and discuss. I know I've been on the show a couple of times. We had my Cowboy for Heroes group that I'm a member of. It's not only just the real estate community, but it's what's going on in our area, which is that's great representation, being, what you do for the community, promoting the Stewart brand on all aspects, bringing in Stewart employees to share their wisdom and knowledge, bringing in other people that are involved in our process, from the inspectors, from the appraisers, from the lending institutions, the whole bit. You've had Olympic gold medalists on the show. It's amazing what you accomplish on the show. I think it's a great foot forward, what we're doing, and you say it's real estate. You do more than real estate.
No doubt about it.
So it's a tip of the hat to you and to our BDOs, which probably are the biggest driving force that bring members and guests to you. It's phenomenal. I look forward with the rest of my career with Stewart that we're going to be continuing this show all the way into the future, because I think it adds a very good value to us.
One of the things early on when we put this together, it came upon me the 3 things, and it still said each and every introduction. I was going to point it out earlier, but the announcer says inform, entertain, and inspire. And I'm going to tell you, each and every show, I keep those things, those directives in mind, because I think that if you just had one thing in this real estate radio show, if you didn't have entertainment, well, no one's going to listen to the facts. You need those 3 things. So I will tell you, all of us, we try to keep those 3 things in play. Thus, we get the variety. I don't know if anybody forgot, but we had actor Robert Duvall on the show last year, and he's talked with me for 48 minutes. Can you imagine what that would have cost to have Robert Duvall in any kind of thing for 48 minutes? But he was so kind. We split that up into a part 1 and part 2, but that was incredible. What does he have to do with real estate? He buys real estate. We talked a little bit about that, but he also provided a super entertainment thing. That's right, Olympians. We've had several Olympians. Coaches, authors, Tom Ziegler, son of Zig.
Yep.
I mean, It's so exciting. That's why I'm a curious person. I think anybody in any realm and everything relates to the home in one way or another. And I think that variety, we try to bring people in, and we hope they enjoy that, and we'll keep experimenting along the way.
There you go. Exactly.
So, Larry, before we close the segment, what else would you like people to know about what you're doing and anything else?
Well, I've just been very, very blessed to work for this great company. I've been very blessed to work for the 438. To my rodeo family, we had our big general meeting this past week. I'm excited that we're going to, all systems are go right now, and it was fun to see our group back there. We have over 180-something Stewart employees that are involved with the livestock show, and we change children's lives in the state of Texas. So, little plug there.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, it's not going to be long before it's rodeo time, as the time is marching by quickly, and that means that we're going to have some more Go Texans editions on this show where we get to wear cowboy hats and everything else. That's super fun, right?
It's right around the corner. Yes, sir.
Larry, how could people learn more about Stewart Title, our mighty Houston division?
Stewart_Houston.com. You can pull it up. It's all of our locations. Got all the information with all of our links to anything you need, buyer, seller, lender, whatever. Also has how to get in touch with everyone within the Stewart organization.
And Larry, I personally thank you for your support and your inspiration. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Warren. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Bill.
Here he is, Tom Carpentier, president of Stewart Insurance. I say it all the time, almost. That is, he leads the company in a magnificent way, 24/7, even when he sleeps. Tom, welcome to the show.
Bill, great to be here. Congratulations. It's very exciting. 400 shows. It's 400. Amazing.
Well, I go back. You were there at the very beginning, and we're so thankful for your participation, and how that came about is another story.
Right.
I can remember standing there in the office with Betty Warren, and if Betty's listening to the show, Betty, thank you so much, because
Absolutely.
It was Betty and Tom at the very beginning where we merged this together, and it evolved magically in a certain way. But there you were right at the beginning as a visionary. I mean, to take the chance on this show when you said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I was like, holy smokes. What
well,
a visionary.
I got to give you credit. You were the visionary. You're the one that brought it to us. And it's a tremendous concept that has played out over 400 shows. It's been just an amazing experience for, I feel, all of Stewart, the entire Stewart family. Stewart Insurance is part of that family. It's been wonderful. You know, it's kind of, I break it down in several ways. It's informative, right? As you mentioned, every week we're bringing something of value, information, content related to real estate that can help anybody that's just interested in real estate to been in real estate for many, many years. Certainly, you've had some very entertaining guests, and it's, you know, the actors that you mentioned, the athletes, just
law enforcement we've had.
Law enforcement, you
FBI
name it.
agents,
yeah.
ex-FBI
I mean,
agents.
you know, not only informative, but truly entertaining and certainly very inspiring. The guests that we have on this show, just talking about their approach within real estate, and quite honestly, their approach in life, right? I mean, I think as somebody that tries to take life in and you know, really embrace every opportunity and situation that I run into, just getting an opportunity to listen to all these wonderful people and get new levels of perspective, that's always important. You know, I believe that in today's day and age, it's even more important to kind of get greater perspective, and you're delivering that 100%.
Well, thank you for that. And we'll tell people, Stewart Insurance, sometimes one of the reasons you became a part of this and we merged this together is that Stewart Title, people think of title insurance.
Right.
And Stewart Insurance, they may think, oh, well, that's title. No, that's a different thing. In all these years, all 400 shows, we've tried to bring forth that Stewart Insurance is separate, where you have the insurance that homeowners need, that individuals need, that brokers and realtors need as Stewart Insurance, which is different than title insurance. I hope we've done that, but it takes each and every week to do that.
We have, you have, and we all have. It's, you know, I think I speak on behalf of lot of folks and hopefully everybody within Stewart that we're honored to be part of such a wonderful, long-standing company with a great legacy. Everybody really works hard to create great experiences for all our clients and customers. When you start with the leadership within Stewart, today and in the past, everybody really has the interest of the other associates at top of mind to try to, create an environment where everybody's able to come in and have a great career. And then just the delivery to the clients, right? It's what are we delivering, the services we're providing, and always looking for more ways to create more value as part of that experience. And Stewart, for many, many years, has always provided great real estate-related services to the home buyers and sellers, but also to the various folks that are engaged in the real estate from a business standpoint, the brokers, the agents, the lenders. And from our part, Stewart Insurance, this is also an opportunity to create more value. Being an insurance brokerage firm, being owned by Stewart Title Company, Stewart's invested in this company and for the primary reason of, we know real estate, so what better group to really support people from an insurance perspective? We start with, on the commercial insurance side, insuring real estate brokers, attorneys that have a concentration in real estate-related work, appraisers, and lenders. So we understand their business, and so we're able to bring value by being able to build insurance plans based on our knowledge and our subject matter expertise within real estate, because I believe in insurance, you have to know the business that you're insuring as well as your own business in order to properly insure them. So it's been a great fit and just another really, for lack of cliche, but it's really an additional value add that Stewart as a whole is able to bring to the table. And the show has really helped us in multiple ways. It's helped us bring awareness to our services from a self-interest standpoint. It's been wonderful from that side of it. It's also helped us gain additional knowledge, related to the clients that we look to support, right? In speaking to or hearing from all those folks within real estate, understanding what makes them tick, how they operate, it just gives us more perspective. It's almost like an interview for us because they're divulging information that just gives us more information to be able to better support those folks, to serve better, exactly. Yep.
And one of the things, I've said it a couple times now, it bears repeating, and that is the more I look at the time that we're on. People hear the show at the time of broadcast, Sunday, Central Time, 5 to 6, right after the news at 5 o'clock on KPRC, and then many times thereafter on the various platforms, the individual segments, YouTube, the iHeartRadio app, all those things. People get to hear it and all those things. But at the time of broadcast, it really didn't dawn on me until I was driving back listening to the show from a resort area, so to speak. And I looked at all the people on 45. People are on the road in massive quantities from 5 to 6 on Sundays. And both lanes, they're going and they're coming. It is a crazy and abundant, and I said it's a powerful real estate hour from 5 to 6. And I think we couldn't have picked a better time to have the broadcast time on this big station in the fourth largest city.
Absolutely.
Soon to be the third, they say.
Right
here. So those that listen, we're so grateful for them, for the listeners out there, whether they're real estate or just people that want to hear about real estate, and everybody does. And that's the thing. Look at the TV shows.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of being a business, right, and your primary goal should be able to deliver content that's relevant to the market you're serving, the people you're serving, the companies you're serving, and being able to put it out there on the radio and then spread it out from there via social media and other things. It's a great form and it's really worked well. But again, I go back to the fact that what I think most about in terms of the greatest value is really having all those wonderful guests bring great information. And then the other side of it is I also reflect on all the people we've had on the show. And, this is a form of professional development as well for real estate professionals to come on and talk on the radio and be able to craft their communication skills and enhance their communication skills. It's a wonderful opportunity, whether it's an experienced realtor or a new realtor or anybody else within real estate. It's a great opportunity to kind of put themselves out there so they can craft their message, so they can deliver information even better when they're going out and soliciting business or speaking to clients. So it's, I could go on, but there's so much in my mind that this show's delivered to, as Larry had mentioned, not only real estate, but the
Oh, yeah. And I want to mention a few of those guests.
Overall.
But, recently, in the last 2 years, we've had a tremendous guest on a regular basis. His name is John Bramblett with Stewart Insurance. And the fact that John has now been a part of the show where he has his regular segment, I think one of the other benefits is some people think about insurance where, okay, here's my renewal. Okay, fine. I think hopefully people are thinking about insurance in a new way, those listening, and even the individual segments on Facebook where they get to hear John talk about it from an insurance man and from Stewart Insurance. They get to hear about what he says and maybe inspire and broaden the knowledge about insurance is about being properly insured.
There's no question. John is
Go John.
Go John. He is a subject matter expert when it comes to insuring businesses and people within real estate. I mean, our ultimate vision is to be the most admired insurance resource for real estate. That's what we're striving for, to be the best at properly insuring people. And we're not trying to sell a policy. We're trying to build an insurance plan that has the intent to cover the exposures that the individual or the business has. Like anything else, on the surface, insurance or any other business may seem straightforward, but there's so much that goes into it that can, create tremendous benefits for you in the time of need, or trip you up if things aren't evaluated properly up front. And so John does a great job of relaying that information to the real estate community, but the general community as well. And I'm very fortunate to have John and quite honestly my whole team. I take the same mindset that Larry does. I work for my team. I'm there to support them and give them anything they need. And I can't say enough about our team that is working hard every day with clients to ensure they've got an insurance plan that makes most sense for them and truly meets their needs.
I want to mention this too, as all the great guests we've had, certainly realtors, brokers, home inspectors, all sorts of things. But one of the ones that people may have forgotten about, we had the first Canadian in outer space, Chris Hadfield.
We did.
We had him on the show. Not only was he the first Canadian in outer space, but he was the former commander of the International Space Station. He was in space a total of 166 days on 3 separate missions. I mean, that's incredible.
It is.
He talked about motivation, training, how he had his mind right to do something phenomenal. I mean, it goes on and on. Sports figures. We've had Frank Billingsley, the top meteorologist, or one of them, right here in town. Another one that went way back, when we talk about motivation, of course, Tom Ziegler, I mentioned that, but we even had a boxer, a middleweight, the WBO, that's the World Boxing Organization, I believe. We had Austin No Doubt Trout on the show where he talked about motivation, how he had his mindset to do 40 fights where he had 18 knockouts as far as wins, and he only lost 8 fights out of the 40. So all sorts of people.
All sorts of people, yeah. And again, it's people bringing value and information related to real estate, but then, a lot of successful people just bringing insight into what created their success. Oftentimes we see success and we look at that person and we admire it, but you don't see everything that went into it, the blood, sweat, and tears that it took. And there's so much insight that the guests have provided that it can be anybody within their own career could take some of that those nuggets of information and apply to their lives and just create even more success. And one of the other amazing things is hearing the guest and you hear about their professional side, but all the amazing things that people do in their personal lives, whether it's charitable work, what they do for their hobbies. It's been fascinating.
Another thing, sometimes I ask the same question to people over and over.
Over and over, right.
You get a different answer almost 100%. Every time. So it's,
absolutely.
That in itself
100%.
is unbelievable.
Yep.
Before we close the segment,
Yes,
Tom, what else should we know?
Other than thank you, Bill, for everything you've done, and truly providing a great, entertaining, and informative platform for people of all walks of life. We couldn't have done this without you, and we really appreciate you. I couldn't think of a better host to have led us through this. So thank you for what you do. I look forward to another 400 shows, and we will. We do definitely need to have that 400th show party.
Let's do it.
We got to plan it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Carpentier, Stewart Insurance, and let's tell people the phone number, Tom.
You can reach our group anywhere in the country at 866-798-2827, or you can go to stewartinsurance.com.
866-798-2827. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Bill.
As I said, John Bramblett, one of the highlights of the last couple of years. John, here he is as we close show number 400. First of all, thank you so much for being my partner here every show.
Oh, Bill, it's been my pleasure. I've enjoyed working with you, Captain, and as we know that the insurance segment is always the highlight of the show, so I'm glad we're able to talk a little insurance today, but it's so exciting to have and reflect on all the guests that we've had over the year, and to have Alex and Tom and Larry here today has been really special.
In fact, you know what some of my favorite shows are? When you guest host, and we have a couple of those coming up.
We have a couple of those coming up, so yes, I'm looking forward to it as well, but I do my best to fill your shoes, but it's great to have been your partner for the last couple of years.
Well, as far as Stewart Insurance, it's very exciting. Let's tell people, we got a couple minutes left, John. What else do you want them to know before we close show number 400? We'll be back to somewhat normal next week.
Well, as Tom mentioned, our goal is to be the insurance resource for real estate. So our focus is always to make sure that our guests and our clients are properly insured. So whether it's your home for flood or wind, a home's policy, your auto, your vacation property, or on the business side, if you're a title and attorney agent, a real estate broker, property management firm, and you need professional liability insurance or cyber liability, a general liability policy, or business owner's policy, let us spend some time and visit with you, and we'll make sure that you come away that you're comfortable with the coverage that you have, and you truly feel like that you are properly insured.
People can call
866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. They can learn more about us at stewartinsurance.com, or they can email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com.
The other great thing is you have brought tremendous guests on the show that I didn't even know about, so that is a super enhancement.
Well, I appreciate that, and as you mentioned, we've got I'll be guest hosting at the end of November and the first part of December, so we've already got some fantastic guests lined up, and we're really looking forward to being here again.
In fact, I'll be talking to Larry about that vacation time right after the show. But as we close show number 400, a special thanks to Betty Warren way back 400 weekends ago. Certainly Tom Carpentier, president of Stewart Insurance, Larry Warren, president of a senior division here in Houston, and all the guests that are listening now. All of you that have been on the show, we really appreciate it. And we've had guests all over the country. We certainly thank our CEO, Fred Eppinger, making a tremendous difference for Stewart Title. And, of course, all the listeners, as you're out there listening, thank you. Please tell others about the show. We appreciate that. We thank our escrow officers and our Stewart Business Development officers right here in Houston, and even some that have participated from beyond. So, once again, thank you all. An extra special show, number 400. Show number 401 is next week. Stewart.com/radio. That's Stewart.com/radio. We'll see you next week. Thank you all so much. Thank you, guys.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Your errors and omissions and cyber liability insurance can help limit the threat of these risks if you know what to look for. Not sure if your insurance addresses the risks facing your business? Contact Stewart Insurance to be confident your brokerage can withstand these risks. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827. StewartInsurance.com. That's StewartInsurance.com, or call 866-798-2827.